Good morning. Welcome back to the Bookstack Coffee Chat. Daleen Bickle here, and hope you are enjoying your almost end of the week. It's Thursday, and it is a beautiful, beautiful day to be alive and to be looking forward to spring. I don't know where you're at, but here yesterday we had an unexpected, at least for me, maybe if you watch the weather you would know, but it was unexpectedly warm yesterday, and I loved hearing the little peep frogs in the evening, being able to go outside and enjoy the day. So hopefully it is nice where you're at and you're able to get outside and enjoy a little bit of today as well after this coffee chat. So what have you been up to? What have you been reading? Let me know in the comments when you pop in. Say hello. Let me know you're there. And just let me know what you're up to. So this week has been a busy week. After I do this Bookstack Coffee Chat, I'm hosting a self-publishing Unpacked virtual workshop for authors who are interested in learning about how to self-publish their books. So busy day for me, but I still, even in all the preparation for that and the last week, I was able to do a little bit of reading and checked into my local library and found a few books. And the theme today revolved around questions. The questions we ask, how we ask them, and where they can take us. So this first one is about where they can take us. So this book is Her Last Flight by Beatrice Williams. And this is not something that I would normally pick up. It's not a subject matter I'm very familiar with. It mentions about the Spanish Civil War. That's not something I've ever studied. That's not the emphasis of it. It's actually about an American pilot who volunteered to fight in that Spanish Civil War, and then he went missing. His plane was never found. And so this book was written, and I'll read the back blurb about it. It says, in 1947, photographer and war correspondent Janie Everett arrives at the Hawaiian island of Kauai to research a biography of aviation pioneer Sam Mallory, who joined the Loyalist forces in the Spanish Civil War and never returned. Obsessed with Sam's fate, Janie has tracked down Irene Lindquist, whom she believes might actually be Irene Foster, Mallory's one-time student and flying partner. At first, Mrs. Lindquist denies any connection to Foster, but Janie informs her that the wreck of Sam Mallory's airplane has recently been discovered in a Spanish desert, and piece by piece, the details of Foster's extraordinary life emerge. As Irene spins her tale to its conclusion, Janie's own past gathers power. The duel between the two women takes a heart-stopping turn. What really happened to Mallory all those years ago? Can we ever come to terms with the loss of those we love and the lives we might have lived? And I haven't gotten too far into it. It is I actually got the large print. I don't need that quite yet. I did have to get reading glasses, but I don't really need large print yet. But this was the only copy available in the library. But as I was flipping through, I always like to read the backstory of why authors decide to pen the works that they do. Good morning. I see you popping on there. And this is what the author, Beatrice, has to say. This book isn't intended as a veiled biography of Amelia Earhart, aka the Irene Lindquist, and certainly not as a theory regarding her famous disappearance over the Pacific Ocean in 1937. But Earhart's story has fascinated me since I was a girl, and a few years ago I posed myself a certain what if. There's that question, right? What if that eventually reimagined itself and grew into Her Last Flight, this book? So for this author, her questions took her down a lot of roads of research and ultimately writing a book. And not all of us, pose questions that end up in a book, but that is one way or one place that our questions can take us. Another book that I picked up and have started reading this week is Doesn't Hurt to Ask by Trey Gowdy. Using the power of questions to communicate, connect, and persuade. And this one caught my eye because personally, I am inquisitive by nature. So when I'm in a learning environment or when I'm studying the Bible, I'm always asking questions and seeking and looking, and I don't hesitate to ask questions. But when it comes to interpersonal communication and asking someone to do something for me, or knowing that I'm going to be having an uncomfortable conversation, I'm not all that comfortable with it. So this book hopefully will help me harness how to properly ask questions. So as I was just skimming through it before, I'm only at the beginning at it, but I skimmed through it before this morning, before I popped on here, and pulled out a few quotes that I thought were quite interesting and I wanted to share with you. And I think it's interesting too, because he used to be an attorney. So he takes all that courtroom knowledge and lawyer speak, so to say, and turns it, makes parallel observations to how everyday interactions can work. So it's talking, this excerpt is talking about the freedom to ask people questions, okay? And it says, he's giving a little example here. What does it take from an evidentiary standpoint for an officer, a police officer, to stop someone on the street and ask a question? Just a question. Ever wondered that? What is required for a police officer to approach you and ask you a question? Not much, if anything. Officers are free to approach citizens and ask if that citizen has a minute. So too in life, we are welcome to approach friends, strangers, family, or coworkers, but we need to understand that our freedom to approach them is correspondent with their freedom to say, no, this is not a good time. And I thought that was a good takeaway for me as well, because I tend to not want to say no very often. So that was a good reminder that I have the freedom to say, no, this isn't really a good time if someone asks me to do something. No. Then another quote here says, doubt is easy to create and hard to overcome. Keep that in mind as we continue the journey about talking about communication. And it says, so be on the lookout when others sow the seeds of doubt about your own ideas, and likewise be mindful of how to plant those seeds when you need to yourself. Love that. Doubt is easy to create and hard to overcome. And that is so true. So true. This one I just thought was interesting. Have you ever heard the term crocodile tears? I've heard that that phrase, but I totally misinterpreted it. I never looked up what it meant. And here he defines it. He says that it's used within the legal realm a lot. And it says, crocodile tears is an expression we use when someone is faking real emotion, faking sincerity, faking empathy, compassion, or sorrow. The term comes from the ancient belief that crocodiles shed tears while they eat their prey. There's a reason we still use that term, and it's not complimentary. Real emotion moves, contrived emotion repels. When emotion is real, it is powerful. When emotion is contrived, it is destructive. So I always thought crocodile tears meant that they were just large tears, that they were really crying hard. But good to know that that's not the true meaning. The actual meaning is that someone is faking their sadness. And the final excerpt here I was wanting to share with you is about asking follow-up questions and the importance of that. It says, part of listening is asking follow-up questions. And when we communicate, when we're talking and asking questions, we also have to listen to answers, right? And so part of listening is asking follow-up questions. The more you are listening, the better the follow-up questions you will have. But there's a reason God created phrases like, did you really? That's amazing. And then what happened? You may not be listening intently, but you are engaged intently and doing the best you can do. So he was saying the backdrop there is whenever you have a family member and you see them, they're telling you this, or a friend even, that they're telling you the same story they just told you a couple of days ago. You've already heard all the details, but they're telling it to you again, and you're not really listening very intently. But rather than being rude and say, hey, yeah, I already heard that story, stop right there, you engage, right? And you ask, really? Oh, that's really fascinating. And so it opens up that door of communication so you can listen intently and also engage actively and continue conversations and ask your own questions and steer the conversation. in the direction that you need it to go. And then finally, of course, one of the best places when we have questions is where to go for the answers is the Bible in Scripture. And I wanted to share with you a verse, James 1:5. And this is a New Life Version translation. If you do not have wisdom, ask God for it. There it is. Ask. He is always ready to give it to you and will never say you are wrong for asking. You are free to come to God with all of your questions. He wants you to, and he will provide you with the answers. The New King James Version phrases it a little like this. It says, again, this is James 1:5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally. I love that. He doesn't just give us a little bit. He gives us liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. So a little encouragement today. If you're asking questions, if you're seeking wisdom, if you not sure which direction you need to go to God. He has all the answers, and he will. He's waiting there. He has the answers, and he is willing to give it to you liberally, what you seek. So that's it for today. Sorry, it's a little short. Got to get ready for this workshop coming up, and be sure to follow me here on Facebook or over on YouTube. I've got my channel over there as well. You can catch the replays there. And if you are watching replay, pop in the comments, hashtag replay. Let me know that you're watching. Love to see where you're coming from, and again, what you're reading. And if you have any suggestions on topics or things that you want to talk about next week, feel free to share those as well. Until next week, I will see you later. Bye-bye.